Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here, wishing you all a happy new year and a horror filled new year to begin with. And I would like to begin with something we all already know, but fuck it. Um, I've been doing a chronological kind of horror reviewing from 1980s, 81, 82, and so forth. Now, I'm gonna start doing that from now on because the next review is probably gonna be a 2024 movie, and the other review is gonna be a found footage recommendation movie. So found footage movies are, yeah, that's more recent, and the reason why I wanted to do the 2024 review is because of a slasher movie to compare it to the 80s and then. Um, but I wanted to do not Friday 13 Part 2 because I've seen the uncut version now. And I think probably a lot of people saw it at this point. I think it's available at some editions on DVD, but that it's included in the movie. And so yeah, well, we all know the movie Amy Steele, Ginny. Betsy Palmer has a small role in this, uh, coming back as Jason's mother. Uh, it's a fun. It's one of the best. It's my favorite, my second favorite Friday the 13th movie. Now I'm a fan of Halloween. If you would ask me which is better, the how many movies are better in a franchise, Halloween or Friday the 13th, I will pick Friday the 13th because I like 1 to 4. I like 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, even, yeah, Jason in the beginning. It's a fun movie. It's popcorn entertainment. It's fun. Only Jason Takes Manhattan, that's just cringeworthy and that's just shit. That's just shit. Um, but this one is, especially this one, is in my top 10 probably. The fourth one is my favorite, the final chapter with Corey Feldman. Now, we all know they're all going to this, not this camp, but this a center to teach counselors how to keep them up, on keep them up, what they have to do, uh, keep keep them up speed. You know, from okay, I have to you have to we're gonna have to do the running, archery, psychologically, talking with kids, things like that. It's basically a teaching center, but that lies on the lake, and just on the other side of the lake, you've got Camp Blood or Camp Crystal Lake, right? Now the movie starts out with Alice, the actress of the final girl that survived the first movie. Now, there you already get a taste of the extended piece of scene that you don't see in the original one. When she gets startled by a cat, what the fucking do? Again, a fucking cat. Who the fuck is throw? There's this meme that people are throwing cats at people like to to get jump scares, you know. So I'm actually thinking, is there a guy holding a cat and just throwing it at her? That would be weird. That would really weird be weird just to have a jump scare, right? Um, she makes some tea. She goes in the refrigerator to find some food for the cat, and she finds Mrs. Voorhees. This is 6 months later after the incident in the first movie. She still has her eyeballs, and she's not completely decomposed yet. And then we see Jason taking an ice pick, putting it in her head. But in the original version, we only see this. Now, like this. Now we see like this, and we see that it's the weirdest hole to come out. It's like he pierces her. It's like he pierces her nose for a nose ring. You know, it comes out here. Oh, my glasses are like this, which is really weird, really weird. And then she's like, "Oh." That's one of the first extended kill scenes. Then we go further, 5 years later. Now, and that's what I always question, the fact, how old is Jason? I mean, he was already, let's say he was already a 12-year-old boy when he drowned. And then a year later, those two counselors get killed. In the first one, let's say she was still a cook back then. And killed those two counselors because they were fooling around. But then, when she kills the, the counselors, we go to 1980, to today. It says today, present day. So Jason has to be at least in his 40s or something. It's a completely fucked up timeline, and I understand why they did the, come on, let's do it, like Friday the 13th. He supposedly dies. He doesn't. Next day he takes another bunch of people and kills them. He doesn't succeed. Next day he takes another bunch of people and tries to kill them. And this one, he doesn't succeed and he dies. And of course, then in part 6 we get zombie Jason, and then you can argue as much as you want, it's a zombie, right? So I think they, in my opinion, Jason was a 40-50-year-old man when he was in part 2, part 3, part 4. Yeah. So people are arriving at the training center near Camp Crystal Lake, and Amy Steele arrives, and the the head counselor is Paul Holt, and he takes Ginny apart. She takes her separate, and she says, "Listen, sorry I was late, but my car was sick. Why didn't you call? But call this and that." And he says, "I really care for you." And then you see a little bit of, oh, okay, these two have a romantic relationship. There's this moment when she's in the cabin and they want to have sex, but she wants to tell him something. And because before Ginny arrives, Paul is doing his speech about this is bear country, so all keep your food locked away, and ladies keep clean, meaning your menstrual cycles, right? And you see them looking awkwardly to each other, and some boys are laughing like idiot asshole twits that just don't know, that aren't mature enough, but okay. But she wants to say something, and the day after, he puts on the mirror in lipstick, "Beware for bears." So is she pregnant from Paul? Is she pregnant from? Did she told? Did she tell him during? I mean, after the, the sex or before? I think after the sex, because he wouldn't let her talk. He was horny as fuck. He wanted to fuck her. So probably after. This is also the moment when we see the second extended scene where Ralph, crazy Ralph, you're all doomed, right? This time he gets doomed. I think he gets killed by a wire, but I think barbed wire because he bleeds like hell. You see him get. It's not wow, the extended scene. He's get more like this, and he's doing more like this, and you see the blood coming from his neck, and then at some point you see him like this, and he dies. You just see his face longer. You see the blood pouring out more. I think it's done with barbed wire. He's dead. That was the second extended kill scene. Now, at some point, everybody's doing it. There's training. They're barbecuing. This couple goes to Camp Crystal Lake, and they're not supposed to. And not the sheriff, but I think a deputy picks them up, and he says, "You have to keep them in line. We don't want any fuss around here. It's been quiet for more than 5 years now. Just relocate to another state, because I know you're doing good with these youngsters, but just relocate." And then he says to note it. He says to Ginny, tell the couple that they can get seconds on desserts. It's weird. I didn't understand his that, because the deputy was actually not a bad guy. He was just doing his job, and Paul was being an asshole. He wasn't working with him. He was an asshole. But after later on, yeah, he was an asshole. And of course we see the third extended kill when the cop sees when he drives away a guy running in the woods with a sack on his head, a hillbilly, suspenders and pleated shirt. I'm not saying all people with pleated shirts and suspenders are hillbillies, but I'm saying he looked kind of like a hillbilly. He runs after him. He comes across this shack, which might explain that Jason made everything out of what he could find, and you saw some furs lying around, so he ate from the wild, and that he grew up in that house. And then of course the night when he saw his mom, he saw her being decapitated. And I'm guessing she never tried to look for her son, because if she would have been looking for him before the incident at the first movie, he probably would have reconnected with her, right? So he has her head on a shrine, and then the cop comes in and he gets the claw part of the hammer on his head, and you see it going in, and you see him longer going like boom. That's the third extended death scene. At the moment, not too much to write home about, right? Now the two upcoming scenes are okay. These are more gory. Now everybody wants to go to town from the training center, but the two misfits that went to Camp Crystal Lake they volunteered to stay. So it's Paul Holt giving them another punishment. So he does give a little bit more authority and doesn't just, let him, be run over by these little assholes. So he sees who wants to go, and he takes everybody with. He takes the pickup from the guy who's now house arrest. He has a giant pickup truck. And you've got the. It's always funny. Remember the guy that's the second income. No, what's it? Second hands. So you had the first hand, which is Ginny. That's the one you go to if Paul isn't there, and if she's not there, you go to that guy. And I forget his name. Freddie, I think. He's the comedian. Now, apparently, in a making of the movie, he said he was supposed to come with them back to the cabin after the bar because he was drunk and he drank enough. That's why he says at some point, is there an after hours bar here? So he doesn't need to go back there. He was supposed to die, but he couldn't die in a good way on camera. It was like, oh! He said, and I was like, oh! Apparently he couldn't. He for some reason, and they tried, because they actually tried to kill him. Jason tried to kill. He killed him. I mean, they actually killed him on scene, but these scenes were just cut away and put in the garbage. He does this weird sound, and they say, you know what, you just stay behind with the rest of the group, and you give orders to the ones who stay behind, because he's the let's say third in command, the left hand, and Ginny is the right hand of Paul Holt. During their drinking at the bars, the people that are left there, you've got this guy. There's this one lady who, on the one hand, she has a beautiful body, but she has these mosquito tits, like just plop. You got the nipples and that's it. I don't like that. And her hair is short. So short. I don't like that either. So, but she has a beautiful body. Now this guy who keeps stalking her and keeps harassing her. At some point, she wants to get out. He's, taking all of her clothes. He's teasing her, and eventually he falls in one of Paul's bear traps. He's upside down. She's now, of course, in command. She has the power now. If I was that girl, I would have let him hang there just all night. But of course, she has a conscience. She goes back to the cabin to find something to cut him down. And now you get the fourth deleted scene, extended kill scene. It's basically in the theatrical movie, you see him getting his throat slit by Jason, but you only see the slice and a little blood coming out, and then it stops. And when she finds him, he's bloodless in his face. And she screams, she turns around, and she's looking at the camera like, ah! And then she dies. And I think the reason why they wanted to kill her like that was because several times in the movie, she appears right in front of the camera with her face. When she's searching the cabin, face, in your face, yeah, multiple times. So I think they decided to do it like that. Ah, dead. Okay, but in the extended kill scene, he gets cut, but all, of course, what would happen in a normal cut, the blood just flows all the way through his face, and his face is completely red of blood. But still, when she finds him, even with that scene in, his face is as clean as crisp. So that that wasn't utilized any further in that scene, that his face should be completely red of blood. And then we get the probably most notorious skill, the arm wrestling wheelchair guy. I'm thinking he's in training now. Is he doing arm wrestling as a sport? Probably. The coolest skill, the reason why this is one of the coolest skills is in slasher history, is because there's almost no music, and you think he's in a wheelchair, okay, some compassion for the guy, and he's just looking for that girl that wants to fuck him, and at not at so at nowhere this machete comes right in the face, right in the schnauz, and he falls down. Then he falls down the stairs and stairs and more stairs. This guy, he really got it bad. He really got it bad. And I think if you would have been in that theater, that would have been an extremely. I think a lot of people would have been. I mean, that would have been an extreme jump scare. I think so. I think so. I think, okay, people thought, okay, this guy's gonna die, but not the way he they did it. Like just putting a machete, you know, in the fucking guy's face. Also, when for a side note, Jenny is talking to Paul, and I think it's like I said, the comedian Freddie, and he's talking about him saying that the humanity of Jason, that she is kind of that she, I mean, he has to be an extremely a child in an adult body, that he saw the entire thing of the decapitation, and that he doesn't know how to get out of the woods, and she basically because she majored in psychology, she basically um, analyzes him, and she had some good things to say, and so she gives Jason more personality, because the thing is, Jason was a more personality character than Michael Myers. Although Michael Myers, he killed his sister and he's been in a catatonic state for 15 years. He didn't say shit, and then he goes out and kills the devil's eyes, the blackest eyes, right? But here Jason gets more personalized. He gets more a sticker of you're a human being, and you know what I mean. So okay, let's go back to the camp. The last kills are the girl who wanted to fuck the wheelchair guy, and then the two the two misfits who went to the camp and were punished not having seconds on dessert, and had to stay at the camp and give their car to the ones who could go out. Um, this scene is still it's now we're at number five. I'm thinking five. Yeah, this scene is debated that it's actually from A Bay of Blood from 1972 or 74. I'm not sure. From Mario Bava, where he basically takes a spear that he finds lying against the wall. He and it's a cool kill. He stabs it in the back, and you see the girl going, oh, and then he's like making like soup out of the back, and the blood is squirting all, and the guy is like doing these spasms, and blood's everywhere. It's a pretty cool kill. I would say better than even Mario Bava's one. And then the last extended kill is basically when the girl who wanted to who wanted to fuck the wheelchair guy, he comes in, she comes in, she goes to the bedroom of Darcy was her name or something, and the other guy I don't know, the misfit couple, and she doesn't find them. She sees blood on their bed, and then she sees them hanging on the coat racks, and then she sees Jason coming with a kitchen knife towards her, and you see her actually stabbing her in her heart, and blood is coming out of her mouth, and she goes down. In the original, you don't see the stab, you don't see blood. She goes down. That's it. So that's basically the last extended scene you've got. Then we get the entire scene of Paul and Ginny arriving, and of course we get Paul being knocked out by Jason, and then the cat and mouse game between Ginny. I like when Ginny's behind the tree and just kicks him in the balls. I think this Jason, especially the second movie, he was the most vulnerable. He was the, if yeah, a kick in the knackers. Truth. He was the most vulnerable. Also, when he is standing on the bed and he on a chair, but he does something stupid. Instead of doing like this, he just falls because she's under the bed, and he sees her, but she scuffles away to the other side. He falls with the pitchfork, and it cracks, and it hurts him. And I mean, her chainsaw, she was really giving it to him, and he was like, but then it got out of fuel or something, I'm not sure. And it seemed to me that this Jason was the most vulnerable, and because when they're back in the cabin, she does the reverse psychology trick, because she was talking about Jason's feelings at the bar, and she was right. She was right that Jason still has feelings for his mother. So she puts on a sweater, puts her hair in a way that she kind of looks like it, and she talks like how she knows that she talked like that. Mother, Jason, hello, Jason. Mother's proud. Mother's proud of you, Jason. And he's going like this, and he's looking at her, and so childlike. Eventually, when she has the machete behind her back, and eventually when he sees the head, he slices her. But then we see Paul Holt for the rescue, again wrestling, and he's not superhuman strong, because let's say that even the Jason of the third or the fourth movie would just kick his ass and throw him out of that cabin. Here, he's really, like I said, he isn't that strong. And then, of course, he gets the machete in the collarbone. Yeah, I think that was here. Then we get the famous dream sequence when we see Jason's head, but then we've got the debate: was that a real scene? Wasn't was because Paul clearly died, and she's asking for Paul. Nobody answers, and the mystery of Paul. There are pictures of him lying in the shack like this, but how? When did she? Okay, after Paul's alive. There you go. So I hope you like this extended version of Friday the 13th Part 2 from 1981. Yes. And see you next time. Subscribe if you want to have more horror fun. And see you later. Bye bye.